Here's a little something for you.
Oh my goodness, a scarf. And I brought you this aftershave.
Thank you so much.
45 minutes a pound, just like Mother taught me. It's the centerpiece after all.
Close your eyes and remember. It's Christmas Eve, 1974. You wake in the darkness of a December morning and your breath mists in the frigid air of your bedroom. The single-bar electric fire your mum switched on 20 minutes ago glows orange in the corner, but it's barely taken the edge off the cold. You can see frost patterns on the inside of your window, actual ice crystals forming delicate ferns across the glass. You trace them with your fingertip, and the coldness burns slightly. There's no central heating in this house. Most houses don't have it. That radiator under the window? That's something people talk about having one day, like color televisions or telephones that aren't shared with the neighbors. You pull on your clothes under the covers, your school jumper over your pajamas, thick woolen socks that your gran knitted last winter, the ones with the slightly wonky heels that rub a bit, but keep your feet warm. The lino floor is absolutely freezing as you dash across to the door. You can hear your dad downstairs already, the scrape of the coal shovel, the clang of the fire being riddled out. The house runs on that coal fire in the living room. It heats the water, warms the house, provides the only really comfortable spot on a day like this. Later, when it's been going for hours, you'll all huddle around it, so close that your shins get red and mottled, but your back stays cold. Down in the kitchen, condensation streams down the windows. Your mum's at the stove, and she's wrapped in her dressing gown with her winter coat over the top, her breath visible in the air. The kettle's whistling on the gas hob, a proper metal kettle that takes ages to boil and screams when it's ready. She's making tea in the big brown teapot, the one with the crack down the side that's been there for as long as you can remember. "Morning, love," she says, and her face is already tired. She's been up since 6, getting things ready. There's so much to do. The kitchen smells of damp washing. There's always damp washing somewhere in winter, draped over the clothes horse near the fire, taking days to dry, giving the house that particular musty smell that everyone's house has. But today there's something else mixing with it. The sweet, spicy scent of the Christmas pudding that's been steaming since yesterday, wrapped in its cloth in the big pot on the stove. Your mum made it back in October, stir-up Sunday, and it's been sitting in the cupboard under the stairs ever since, wrapped in greaseproof paper and foil, waiting. Breakfast is simple. There's no time for a cooked meal today, that's for tomorrow. You get a bowl of cornflakes with milk from the bottle that's been on the doorstep since 5 a.m., the cream at the top frozen solid, leaving a mushroom-shaped plug of ice poking up through the foil cap. Your mum's already brought it in and stood it by the fire to thaw. The milk tastes different in winter. Richer somehow, creamier. There's white bread from the baker's, cut thick, with margarine, butter's too expensive for every day, and a scraping of Robertson's jam. You look at the gollywog on the label. Everyone has these jars. The tokens on the back can be collected for badges. Nobody questions it. It's just normal. That's how things are. Your dad comes in from sorting the fire, his hands black with coal dust. He washes them at the kitchen sink under the cold tap. There's no hot water yet. The fire hasn't been going long enough to heat the back boiler. He uses the bar of Lifebuoy soap, that red, medicinal-smelling soap that stings if you get it near your eyes. The smell of it mixes with the coal dust and the steam from the Christmas pudding. "Right," he says, drying his hands on the towel hanging from the hook. "We need to get to Woolworths before the rush." The shopping expedition. You're bundled into your winter coat, the one that's slightly too small now, the cuffs riding up to show your wrists, but you'll make do until next year. Your mum wraps a knitted scarf twice around your neck until you can barely turn your head and pulls a woolly hat down over your ears. You look like a walking laundry pile, but at least you're warm. The bus stop is 3 streets away, and you walk there quickly, your breath puffing out in clouds. Other families are doing the same thing. Everyone's heading into town for the last bits and pieces. Mrs. Patterson from number 47 is at the stop, laden with shopping bags from yesterday's trip, and she's complaining about the queues at Fine Fair. 40 minutes I stood there, she says, her voice carrying in the cold air. 40 minutes for 2 tins of ham and a packet of stuffing, and they'd run out of crackers on Christmas Eve.
Can you believe it?
The bus arrives, a red double-decker, the number 38, with the conductor hanging off the back platform. Everyone piles on, stamping their feet, rubbing their hands. The windows are steamed up completely, running with condensation. Someone's drawn a Christmas tree in the mist on one window, and a wonky star at the top. The bus smells of damp wool, cigarette smoke, and exhaust fumes that somehow seep up through the floorboards. Your dad pays the conductor, 3p for you, 9p for him and your mum. The conductor cranks his ticket machine, and the tickets scroll out with a satisfying mechanical whir. They're different colours for different prices, and your dad tucks them into his coat pocket with all the other receipts and bits of paper he carries around. The journey into town takes 20 minutes, and you press your face against the cold window, wiping a clear spot with your sleeve. You pass through streets of terraced houses, each one with a tree visible in the front window, lit with those big coloured bulbs that get hot enough to scorch the branches. Some houses have those bubble lights, the ones with the liquid inside that bubbles when they heat up. You desperately want those, but they're expensive, and your mum says the normal ones are perfectly fine. The shops are already heaving when you arrive. It's only 9:30, but High Street is packed with people, all with the same desperate last-minute energy. The cold doesn't seem to matter anymore. There are too many people, too much movement, too much noise. Woolworths is your first stop. The store's busy enough that you have to queue just to get through the door. Inside, it's overwhelming. The lights are bright after the grey morning outside, and there's Christmas music playing tinnily through speakers somewhere above your head. Merry Xmas Everybody by Slade. It's been playing everywhere, constantly, for weeks. You'll be hearing it in your sleep. The store smells of pick and mix and floor polish and too many people in winter coats. Everything's crammed onto shelves and displays, and people are grabbing things with an edge of desperation. Your mum's got her list, written on the back of an old envelope in her careful handwriting. Batteries, sellotape, ribbons, toy for next door's lad, wrapping paper. The toy department is chaos. Children everywhere, parents looking stressed and tired. The shelves are picked over. The good stuff went weeks ago. What's left are the toys nobody quite wanted. A lonely action man with a broken arm mechanism going for half price, jigsaw puzzles with slightly dented boxes, a few remaining board games. Your mum picks up a small dinky toy, a red fire engine. "This'll do for young Michael," she says, checking the price. 59p.
That's not too bad.
Everything's priced in proper money still, even though decimalisation happened 3 years ago. Your mum still converts everything back to shillings and pence in her head, muttering about how much more everything costs now. "That's nearly 12 bob," she says, though she buys it anyway. The queue for the till snakes back through 3 aisles. You stand there for what feels like hours, shuffling forward incrementally, your legs aching, your coat too hot now in the pressed crowd of people. The woman in front of you has a basket piled high with last-minute gifts, all from Woolworths. A bottle of Chanel No. 5, probably fake, chocolate oranges, handkerchiefs in packages of 3, Old Spice aftershave sets in their boxes with the sailing ship on the front. Your dad's wandered off to look at the hardware section, and he comes back with a packet of fuses. "Just in case," he says.
Power cuts have been happening a lot lately.
Something about the miners and the government. Grown-up stuff you don't quite understand, but that makes your dad's face go tight when he reads the paper. The 3-day week happened last winter, and everyone's worried it might happen again. Finally, you reach the front. The till is one of those old mechanical ones, and the woman operating it is exhausted, her hair coming loose from its bun, her lipstick worn off except in the corners of her mouth. She rings up each item with a practiced motion. Ding, ding, ding. The total comes to £3.47. Your mum counts out notes and coins from her purse. A £1 note, 2 10-bob notes, some silver coins. The £1 notes are huge and rustly, the old green ones with Britannia on the back, and they're already worn soft from being passed from hand to hand. Out onto the high street again. British Home Stores next. BHS. Your mum needs wrapping paper because she somehow didn't buy enough, and every gift needs to be wrapped, even the small ones. The wrapping paper department has been decimated. What's left is picked over, slightly damaged rolls, the patterns that nobody really wanted. Brown paper with gold bells, green paper with slightly wonky Santas. "It'll have to do," your mum says, grabbing 3 rolls. "Nobody's going to remember the paper anyway." But she's wrong about that. Years later, you'll remember this exact paper, the way it felt under your fingers, the pattern of those gold bells catching the light from the tree. Next door is Freeman Hardy Willis, the shoe shop. You're not going in. You had new shoes for school in September, and they'll have to last. But you can see through the window. They're having a sale. Up to £2 off selected styles. A pair of men's brogues that usually costs £8.99 is reduced to £6.99, displayed on a little stand with a handwritten price card. Down the street, Marks & Spencer is so packed that people are spilling out onto the pavement. Your mum doesn't even attempt it. "We'll make do with what we've got," she says, though you can see her looking wistfully at the windows, at the displays of food that seem impossibly luxurious. Tins of biscuits tied with ribbons, boxes of chocolates, those fancy Swiss rolls in their long boxes. Your dad guides you into Timothy White's. The chemist smells sharply of disinfectant and something medicinal. It's quieter in here, cooler. Your mum's looking for some gift sets, those boxed sets of talcum powder and soap that women give each other at Christmas. She finds some Yardley lavender ones, marked down to 99p. "For your Aunt Jean," she murmurs, picking up 2. The shop is full of things that seem incredibly exotic. Brill cream in its tubes, Pond's cold cream in those distinctive pink tubs, bottles of Evening in Paris perfume in that deep cobalt blue. There's a whole wall of cigarettes behind the counter. Everyone smokes. Your dad smokes Player's Navy Cut. Your mum doesn't smoke, but she doesn't complain when your dad lights up at the breakfast table, or in the car, or basically anywhere. That's just what men do. By the time you leave Timothy White's, it's starting to spit with rain, that fine, cold rain that soaks through everything. Your dad suggests stopping for something warm, and you head to the cafe on Market Street, the one with the steamed-up windows and the smell of frying bacon. Inside, it's packed, but you find a corner table, still wet from where someone's wiped it with a cloth. The menu is handwritten on a board above the counter. Tea, 5p, coffee, 7p, bacon sandwich, 18p, beans on toast, 15p. Your mum orders tea all round, and 1 bacon sandwich to share between the 3 of you. The tea comes in thick white cups, stewed dark, with the milk already added, and a generous heap of sugar stirred in. It's scalding hot and incredibly sweet, and it warms you from the inside out. The bacon sandwich arrives on white bread, the bacon crispy, grease soaking into the bread, a smear of brown sauce. Your dad cuts it into 3 pieces with the side of his fork, and you eat your portion quickly. The salt and fat and sauce, a small moment of perfection in the chaos of the day. All around you, other families are doing the same thing, taking a brief rest, warming up, gathering energy for the next phase of shopping. People are complaining about the crowds, the prices, how everything's so expensive since decimalization, how you can't get anything decent anymore, how it wasn't like this before the war. Everyone's tired. Everyone's stressed. But there's also a kind of camaraderie in it. You're all in this together, this annual ordeal of trying to make Christmas happen on not quite enough money and not quite enough time. The final push. By early afternoon, you're back home, laden with bags, exhausted. Your fingers are numb, even through your gloves, from carrying the heavy shopping bags. The house is cold. The fires died down while you were out, and your dad immediately sets to building it back up, shoving in newspaper and kindling, blowing on the embers until flames start to lick up. Your mum disappears into the kitchen, and the real work begins. She's got the turkey to prepare, a fresh one from the butcher's that cost £3.10, which seemed like an enormous amount of money, but which your dad handed over without complaint because you have to have turkey at Christmas. You just have to. It's sitting on the counter, pale and pimpled, and your mum's face is set with determination as she starts cleaning it out, pulling out the giblets wrapped in paper inside the cavity. The kitchen becomes her domain for the rest of the afternoon. You're sent upstairs to keep out of the way, but you can hear her down there, the clang of pots, the running of water, her occasional frustrated mutter when something doesn't go quite right. The smell starts to drift up, onions frying for the stuffing, the rich, yeasty scent of the bread she's cubing, the sage and thyme from the little tins she keeps in the cupboard. Your dad's tasked with staying out of the way too. He takes refuge in the living room with the paper, the fire now roaring, his pipe going. The smell of his tobacco, St. Bruno flake in the yellow tin, mixes with the coal smoke and the cooking smells. He's reading about the strikes, about the economy, his brow furrowed. The papers are full of doom and gloom, inflation, the oil crisis, power cuts, the 3-day week. But today's Christmas Eve, and he folds the paper away after a while, turns on the radio instead. Radio 2 comes through in tinny monophonic sound from the radio on the mantelpiece, a wooden box with a dial and 2 round speakers behind cloth. Jimmy Young's on, his cheerful voice somehow making everything seem more bearable. He's playing Christmas songs, taking requests, his patter rambling and warm. "Merry Christmas, Mrs. Hodgkinson from Barnsley, and this one's for you and all the family." You're upstairs in your bedroom, trying to wrap presents. You've saved up your pocket money, 5 pence a week for months, and bought gifts from Woolworths. For your mum, a bottle of Lily of the Valley perfume that came in a little frosted glass bottle and cost 45 pence. For your dad, a box of matches with a sailing ship on the front and a little built-in striker on the side. It cost 20 pence and seemed impossibly sophisticated. For your little sister, a small teddy bear that cost 30 pence, with one eye slightly wonky, but it was reduced. Wrapping is harder than you expected. The paper keeps tearing, the sellotape sticks to itself, the edges won't stay down. You don't have any of those fancy stick-on bows like you've seen in the shops. Instead, you've cut strips of the leftover wrapping paper and tried to curl them with the scissors, the way your mum showed you, but they just look sad and limp. Downstairs, your sister is having her hair washed in the kitchen sink, the big event of Christmas Eve. Your mum's bent over her, and she's shrieking that the water's too hot, then too cold, then there's soap in her eyes. The boiler's been on for hours now, finally producing enough hot water, but it's always a gamble with the temperature. There's no shower. Nobody you know has a shower. Baths are once or twice a week, planned military operations involving timing the hot water, heating the bathroom with a paraffin heater that smells of burning oil, not running too much water because it's expensive. By 4 o'clock, darkness is falling. It gets dark so early in December. The sun giving up by 3:30, and now the streetlights are coming on, that orangey glow that makes everything look strange and otherworldly. Your dad's been out to put the milk bottles on the step, 2 pints for tomorrow, because the milkman doesn't deliver on Christmas Day, and you'll need extra for all the tea everyone will drink. The tree lights go on. They're the old kind, wired in series, so if one bulb goes, they all go out. Your dad checks them carefully every year, screwing each bulb in tight, replacing any that look like they might be about to fail. The tree is a real one, bought from the church car park last week for £1.50, and it's already starting to drop needles, despite your mum's best efforts to keep it watered. It smells wonderful, though, that sharp, resinous pine smell that means Christmas more than anything else. The decorations are the same ones you've had for years. Paper chains you made at school, hung in swags across the ceiling, a string of tinsel, slightly balding now, wrapped around the tree. The baubles in their battered cardboard box, each one wrapped in tissue paper, some glass, some plastic, accumulated over years, each one with a memory attached. The angel for the top of the tree, her dress yellowed with age, her halo slightly bent. You stick up your cards. They've been arriving all week, dropping through the letterbox with a satisfying thump, each one precious. Cards from relatives you barely see, from your parents' friends, from the people at your dad's work. They're arranged on the mantelpiece, on every available surface, each one a connection to someone who remembered you. Your mum's very particular about them. Each one is examined, commented on. "Oh, look, Jean's sent us one of those fancy ones with glitter," displayed prominently. Evening falls tea is early and light. You'll be eating properly tomorrow.
Beans on toast, or maybe fried eggs and chips. Quick, simple,
filling. Your mum's still cooking. She's at the stage where the kitchen looks like a bomb's hit it. Every surface is covered. Mixing bowls, pots, pans, the turkey sitting in its roasting tin, ready to go in the oven at the crack of dawn tomorrow. After tea, it's bath time. You go first because you're oldest. The bathroom is freezing. There's no heating up here at all, just an ancient paraffin heater that your mum lights with a match, the flames springing up blue behind the wire guard. It smells terrible, that oily, burning smell, and the heat it gives off is minimal, but it's better than nothing. The bath takes ages to fill. The water comes out of the tap in a thin stream, barely hot enough. You can't fill it more than about 6 inches deep anyway, partly because there's not enough hot water, partly because water's expensive and your dad's always going on about the water rates. You lower yourself in carefully. The water's too hot at one end, barely warm at the other. You have to keep topping it up from the hot tap as it cools. The soap is imperial leather, the bar kept in its own little soap dish, going soft and soggy at the bottom. The smell is distinctive, that particular clean, slightly chemical scent that everyone's bathroom has. You wash quickly, efficiently. There's no messing about. Other people need baths too, and the hot water won't last. Your sister goes next, then your mum, then your dad. By the time he's done, the water's barely lukewarm, and the bathroom's steamy and damp, condensation running down the walls. Your mum leaves the door open afterwards to let it air out, otherwise mildew grows in the corners, black spots creeping up the walls that she has to scrub off with bleach. Clean and in your pajamas, dressing gown and slippers, you're finally allowed into the living room properly. The fire's roaring now, and the room is actually warm, almost tropical compared to the rest of the house. You position yourself on the hearth rug, as close as you can get, until your mum tells you you're going to catch fire if you get any closer. Your dad's got his slippers on, his Christmas present from last year, brown checked, the back's trodden down flat now. He's settled in his armchair, the one with the worn arms and the cushion that's moulded to his shape. Your mum's in the other chair, her feet up, a rare moment of rest. She's still got things to do. She'll be up until midnight getting everything ready. But for now, for just this moment, she's sitting down. The telly's on, BBC One. It's only been broadcasting in colour for a few years, but you haven't got a colour set. They're still expensive, still a luxury. Your screen is black and white, the picture slightly fuzzy, ghosts of images trailing across when someone moves quickly. You have to get up and adjust the horizontal hold sometimes when the picture starts rolling, and the aerial's always a problem. Your dad's got it balanced on top of the set, wrapped in foil to improve the signal, and you have to stand in a certain position to hold it steady if a program's particularly important. There's a variety show on, Christmas at the Palladium or something like that. Women in sequined dresses, men in dinner jackets, dancers in formation, all in shades of grey. The acts are wholesome, clean, comedians telling jokes that make your dad chuckle, singers performing standards, everything terribly proper and choreographed. Your mum's knitting while she watches. She's always knitting something, the needles clicking away steadily, another jumper or pair of socks or scarf taking shape inch by inch. The Christmas Radio Times is open on your lap. You've been studying it for days, circling the programs you want to watch, planning your viewing like a military campaign. Tomorrow's the big day, the Morecambe and Wise Christmas special at 8:15 p.m. on BBC One. Everyone will watch it. Everyone. It's not optional, it's Christmas. But tonight, there's the generation game, and you settle in to watch it. Bruce Forsyth's cheerful face fills the screen, his easy banter with the contestants. The conveyor belt bit at the end, where contestants have to remember all the prizes. Cuddly toy, fondue set, tea maker, hostess trolley. Even watching them try to remember is entertainment. The prizes seem impossibly glamorous, things your family would never own, but that seem to represent a kind of aspirational lifestyle you see advertised in magazines. During the commercial break, there are no commercials on BBC, but there's a break while they reset the cameras. Your mum gets up to check on things in the kitchen. She's made mince pies this afternoon, and she brings a plate of them in. They're still slightly warm, the pastry crumbly, the mincemeat dark and rich with spices and raisins, and that distinctive taste of mixed peel and brandy. They leave grease marks on the plate, dust your fingers with icing sugar. Your dad has a small glass of whiskey, Teacher's, from the bottle they keep for special occasions. Your mum has a sweet sherry, Bristol cream, in one of the tiny glasses from the china cabinet. You have a glass of R. White's lemonade, fizzy and sweet, poured carefully so it doesn't foam over. Outside you can hear kids shouting. They're out late, playing in the street, high on the excitement of Christmas Eve. Someone's gotten a new bike and is riding up and down, showing off. You can hear the click of the freewheel, the squeak of brakes that need oiling. Mrs. Patterson from down the street is calling her kids in. Barry! Sharon! Get inside this minute, it's freezing! The church bells start ringing at 8 o'clock. They're having midnight mass later, but they ring the bells at 8 to call people to the evening service. The sound carries clear through the cold night air, a rolling cascade of bronze tones that's been marking time in this town for centuries. Your family doesn't go to church much, just weddings and funerals really, but your mum gets a bit wistful at the sound of the bells. We should go sometime, she says, like she says every year. Your dad replies, like he replies every year. By 9 o'clock, your sister's struggling to stay awake. She's curled up on the sofa, her thumb in her mouth, even though she's been told 1,000 times she's too old for that now, her eyes drooping. Your mum carries her up to bed, and you can hear the murmur of voices, the bedtime routine. Teeth, toilet, prayers, even though you're not really religious, prayers at bedtime are just what you do. Then the creak of the bed as she's tucked in. Now go straight to sleep, your mum's voice floats down the stairs, or Father Christmas won't come. You know the truth, have known for a couple of years now, but you play along for your sister's sake. And anyway, there's something nice about the pretense, about the magic of it all. The long wait. You're trying to stay up as late as possible. This is the most exciting night of the year, the anticipation almost unbearable. Downstairs, your parents are doing their Christmas Eve things. Your mum's still wrapping presents at the kitchen table, the rustle of paper, the tear of sellotape. Your dad's filling the stockings, the old socks hung from the mantelpiece with drawing pins, and you can hear him moving around, the clink of tangerines going in, the rustle of nuts in their shells. The stockings are one of the best bits. Nothing expensive, nothing fancy, just small things. A tangerine in the toe, some nuts, a new pencil, perhaps a comic or a small puzzle book, maybe some chocolate coins in their gold foil wrappers, a sugar mouse with string for a tail, some barley sugar twists wrapped in cellophane, an apple, some new crayons in a box. Simple things, but precious because they're unexpected, because they're just for you. You're reading in bed now, trying to stay awake. Your book is illuminated by the bedside lamp, a small one with a beige fabric shade, 40 watts, because your mum says anything brighter will hurt your eyes. You're reading one of your Christmas annuals from last year, the Beano Annual 1973, or maybe a Look and Learn compilation. The pages are familiar, comforting. Dennis the Menace causing chaos, the Bash Street kids in their identical jerseys, Lord Snooty and his pals. The house is settling down for the night. You can hear your dad doing his final round, checking the doors are locked, the fire's safe, putting the guard in front of it. You hear him wind the clock on the mantelpiece, that big carriage clock that chimes the hours, the one his mother gave them when they got married. The chiming is part of the fabric of your life, marking time, as reliable as sunrise. Your mum comes up eventually, pokes her head round your door. Still awake? Can't sleep. Well, try. Big day tomorrow. She kisses your forehead, her hand cool against your face. She smells of Pond's cream and cooking, and that slightly stale smell that everyone gets by the end of the day. She looks exhausted, her eyes shadowed, but there's something peaceful in her expression too. Everything's ready. It's all done. Tomorrow, whatever happens, she's done her best. Night, love. Night, Mum. The landing light clicks off. You hear your parents getting ready for bed, the creak of floorboards, the rush of water in the bathroom, the murmur of their voices talking about tomorrow, checking they've got everything. Your dad asking if she really needs to get up at 6 to put the turkey on, your mum insisting that she does. You lie there in the darkness, listening to the house. The wind's picked up outside, rattling the windows slightly. The frost is forming on the glass again. You can't see it, but you know it's there. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. A car passes, its engine loud in the quiet street, then fading away. You're thinking about tomorrow, about what might be under the tree. You've asked for a chopper bike, the one with the high handlebars and the gear stick between your legs, but you know it's probably too expensive.
Bikes like that cost real money, £30 or more, and that's a week's wages for some people.
You'll probably get something smaller, maybe a game, maybe some books, maybe new clothes wrapped up to make them seem more exciting than they are. But it doesn't really matter. Tomorrow morning, you'll come downstairs, and the tree will be lit, and there'll be a pile of presents underneath, wrapped in that slightly wonky paper, and your mum will have made breakfast, and the whole day will stretch ahead, full of possibility and food and warmth and family. Your eyes are getting heavy now. The bed's warm, finally, your body heat having penetrated the cold sheets and blankets. You've got your hot water bottle down at your feet, rubber, covered in a knitted cozy your gran made, still holding some warmth, though it's cooling now. The weight of the blankets is comforting, pressing you down into the mattress. Sleep's coming.
You fight it for a moment. You want to stay in this feeling, this anticipation, this perfect moment between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But your body has other ideas, and you feel yourself drifting, the thoughts becoming fuzzy, disconnected. Christmas morning. And then suddenly you're awake and it's Christmas Day. You know immediately, even before you open your eyes. There's a different quality to the darkness. It's not as deep. There's a greyness around the edges. Your clock says 6:15 a.m. You've been awake since 6 but forced yourself to stay in bed, to wait, though every fibre of your being wants to leap up and run downstairs. The house is silent. Your parents are still asleep. You can hear your dad snoring, that familiar rumbling sound that carries through the walls. You lie there, trembling with excitement, staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds, waiting for an acceptable time to get up. 6:20 a.m. Still too early. 6:30 a.m. maybe? 6:35 a.m. You can't stand it anymore. You slip out of bed, your feet hitting the cold lino, and tiptoe onto the landing. Your sister's door opens at the same moment. She's been waiting too. You grin at each other in the grey dawn light, partners in crime, and together you creep downstairs, avoiding the creaky step third from the bottom, holding your breath. The living room door is closed. You push it open slowly and... oh! The tree lights are on, casting their coloured glow across the room. The fire's been laid, ready to light. And under the tree, there are presents. Real presents wrapped in paper, with tags tied on with string, your names written in your mum's handwriting. The stockings are bulging, hanging heavy from the mantelpiece. You take them down reverently, carry them to the sofa, and begin the ritual of emptying them. The tangerine in the toe, bright orange, slightly soft, the smell of citrus sharp and wonderful. The nuts, walnuts, Brazils, hazelnuts, still in their shells, rattling. A Matchbox car, a red one, maybe a Mini Cooper. A comic, the Beano, this week's issue. Chocolate coins, 6 of them, in a little net bag. A sugar mouse, pink and white, with tiny black eyes and a string tail. A packet of love hearts with their chalky texture and printed messages. A small notebook with a pencil attached by a string. A yo-yo, wooden, painted blue. Some jacks in a little bag. The metal star shapes that you throw and try to pick up with a bouncing ball. It's perfect, all of it. Even though it's simple, even though it's nothing compared to what kids now will wake up to, even though it probably cost less than £1 in total. You hear movement upstairs. Your dad's up, and moments later, he's coming down in his dressing gown and slippers, his hair sticking up. "Merry Christmas," he says, ruffling your hair, and his voice is warm and rough with sleep. Your mum appears, wrapped in her old quilted dressing gown, and she looks at the chaos of stockings and wrapping paper and your excited faces, and she smiles. "Shall I put the kettle on?" she asks, because everything starts with tea. The Christmas Day Marathon. The day unfolds in its timeless pattern. Your dad lights the fire, building it carefully, and within an hour, the room is warming up, the chill being pushed back into the corners. Your mum's in the kitchen with the turkey, and you can hear her clattering about, the oven door clanging, her muttering to herself as she calculates timing and temperatures. Breakfast is small because you'll be eating properly later, just some toast and marmalade, more tea. You're in your pajamas still, everyone is, and you'll stay that way until at least lunchtime. That's part of the tradition. Christmas Day is for staying in your pajamas as long as possible, for being comfortable and warm and not having to go anywhere or see anyone. The presents under the tree wait until a decent hour, 9 o'clock maybe, or even 10. The anticipation is part of it, the waiting, the looking at them, trying to guess what's in each one from its shape and weight and the way it's wrapped. Finally, your dad says, "Right then, shall we see what Father Christmas has brought?" He plays along with it too, even though you all know the truth. It's part of the performance, the annual ritual. One by one, the presents are handed out. Your dad reads the tags, passes them around, and you take turns opening them, savouring each one, the paper carefully torn. Your mum will save it, fold it, use it again next year. Nothing's wasted. You get a board game, maybe Cluedo or Monopoly, the box slightly battered from being on the shop shelf, but brand new to you. A book, perhaps a Ladybird adventure story, or a famous five, the pages stiff and new, smelling of ink and possibility. New socks and a jumper from your aunt, sensible and boring but necessary. A selection box of chocolates, Cadbury's or Rowntree's, 6 small bars in a cardboard box with a cellophane window, rationed to last the whole Christmas period. A jigsaw puzzle, 500 pieces, showing some idealized country scene. Perhaps a toy, an Etch-a-Sketch, or a spirograph, or a Viewmaster with reels of Disney films. Your sister gets similar things, age-appropriate. A doll, maybe, or a toy tea set, or some craft supplies. Your parents exchange gifts, practical things mostly. Your dad gives your mum a scarf, or some perfume, or a new cardigan. Your mum gives your dad socks, always socks. A new tie, maybe a bottle of aftershave. They're grateful, genuinely pleased, making a fuss over each item, even though they probably chose them together weeks ago. There are gifts from relatives too, parcels that arrived in the post days ago, carefully wrapped and posted early to make sure they arrived in time. Aunt Jean in Scotland has sent something, Uncle Bob and Aunt Mary from down south. Each parcel is opened carefully, the brown paper and string saved. Might need that. The gifts examined and admired, thank you letters mentally planned. By 11 o'clock, the living room looks like a bomb's hit it. Paper everywhere, toys being played with, board game pieces spread across the floor. The smell of turkey is starting to drift in from the kitchen, mixing with the coal smoke and the pine scent from the tree. Your mum disappears back to the kitchen. She's been in and out all morning, checking things, adjusting things, her face getting more and more flushed from the heat of the oven. She won't really sit down properly until everything's served, and even then she'll be up and down, making sure everyone has enough, that everything's right. The Queen's speech is at 3 o'clock. This is non-negotiable. At 3 o'clock, the television goes on and everyone sits down to watch Her Majesty address the nation. It doesn't matter what you're doing, eating, playing, sleeping. At 3 o'clock, you stop and watch the Queen. She appears on the screen in black and white, seated at a desk, dressed formally, her voice that peculiar accent that nobody really talks like in real life, but which is somehow exactly right for the Queen. She talks about the year that's been, about the Commonwealth, about duty and service and tradition. It's both boring and essential, and you sit through it respectfully, because that's what you do. But before that, there's dinner. Christmas dinner, the main event. The feast. The table's been set in the dining room. You only use this room for special occasions, and it's freezing cold because there's no fire in here, but it's where you eat Christmas dinner. The tablecloth is the good one, brought out once a year, slightly yellowed with age but clean and starched. The cutlery's the decent set, not the everyday stuff. The crackers are laid out, one at each place, the paper slightly faded, but still promising that little explosion of excitement. You all sit down, and your dad says grace. You're not particularly religious, but grace at Christmas is tradition. For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Then your mum brings out the turkey. She's been working on this for hours, and she presents it with pride. It's golden brown, the skin crispy, and it dominates the table. this huge bird that costs more than your dad earns in a day, but which is essential, which is Christmas. Your dad carves. This is his job, one of the few cooking tasks that's distinctly his. He stands at the head of the table with the carving knife and fork, and he makes a ceremony of it, sharpening the knife on the steel with that distinctive shing-shing sound, then cutting into the breast, the meat falling away in slices, revealing the white meat inside, still steaming. Around the turkey, there's everything. Roast potatoes, crispy on the outside, fluffy inside, cooked in the meat drippings. Brussels sprouts, boiled until they're soft, which you'll push around your plate and try to hide under your knife and fork. Carrots, boiled too, orange and sweet. Parsnips, roasted, caramelized at the edges. Stuffing, made from breadcrumbs and sage and onions, packed into the cavity of the bird and now served in scoops. Pigs in blankets, tiny sausages wrapped in bacon, crispy and salty, and the best bit. Bread sauce. That strange white sauce made with milk and breadcrumbs and cloves, which sounds terrible but tastes wonderful with turkey. And gravy. Proper gravy made from the meat juices, thick and brown and so good that you want to drink it straight from the gravy boat, though your mum would never let you. You pile your plate high. Everything touches everything else, the gravy flowing across it all, and you eat until you can't eat any more, and then you eat some more, because it's Christmas. The crackers are pulled between courses, 2 people gripping each end, pulling, waiting for that small pop as the cracker breaks. The little cardboards snap inside, creating that tiny explosion. Inside, a paper hat. You all wear them, even your dad, looking ridiculous and happy. A terrible joke printed on a slip of paper. What do you call a snowman with a six-pack? An abdominal snowman. And a tiny plastic toy, maybe a spinning top, or a tiny magnifying glass, or a miniature pack of cards. Your dad reads the jokes aloud, doing voices, making them funnier than they actually are. Everyone groans appropriately, but everyone's smiling too. Then your mum brings out the Christmas pudding. She's carried it from the kitchen, still in its bowl, and your dad pours brandy over it. Not much. They can't afford to waste good brandy, but enough. Then he lights it, touching a match to the alcohol, and blue flames spring up, dancing across the surface of the pudding. Everyone oohs and ahs as your mum carries it to the table, this burning pudding, tradition made manifest. It's served with brandy butter, butter mixed with icing sugar and brandy, sweet and rich and wonderful. Or with custard, made from bird's custard powder, that distinctive yellow color and vanilla taste. Or with cream if you're lucky, thick cream from the top of the milk, whipped until it's almost butter. The pudding is dense and dark, full of dried fruit and spices, and you have to eat around the silver threepenny bits that your mum's hidden inside, wrapped in grease-proof paper so nobody swallows them. Finding one is good luck, and the person who gets it keeps it, a small treasure. You can't possibly eat all of this, but you try. You're so full by the end that you can barely move, and everyone sits there groaning, loosening belts, undoing top buttons, complaining about how much they've eaten, even as they eye the remaining food on the table. "I couldn't eat another bite," your dad says. "Save room for tea," your mum reminds him. More food. There's always more food at Christmas. Afternoon lull. After dinner, there's a period of collective collapse. Your dad falls asleep in his chair, the paper crown from his cracker still on his head, slipping sideways, his mouth open, gentle snores rumbling. Your mum clears the table but then sits down, her feet up, her eyes closed. You and your sister play with your new toys, the house warm and quiet, the food coma setting in. The television drones on, whatever's on after the Queen's speech, some film usually, maybe an old black and white musical, the songs familiar, comforting. You're only half watching, more interested in your new book or toy, but it's nice having it on, the voices and music a backdrop. Outside, it's already getting dark. Christmas Day in winter in Britain means spending most of it in darkness, the afternoon so short that it's barely there. The streetlights come on, that orange glow again, and you can see a few kids in the street trying out new bikes or skateboards, comparing presents. Your mum stirs around 4:30,
starts thinking about tea. Christmas tea is another institution. More food, lighter this time, but still elaborate. She brings out the spread. Sandwiches. Ham sandwiches with English mustard, salmon and cucumber sandwiches, the salmon from a tin, Prince's or John West, mixed with salad cream. Egg and cress sandwiches, the cress growing on damp flannel on a saucer, all cut into triangles with the crusts cut off, arranged on the good plates. Sausage rolls, bought from the baker's, flaky pastry and meat filling, eaten cold. Scotch eggs, the boiled egg wrapped in sausage meat and breadcrumbs. Crisps in bowls, probably plain or ready salted, maybe cheese and onion if you're lucky. Pickled onions, sharp and vinegary, the kind that make your eyes water. The Christmas cake, heavy with fruit and iced with royal icing, rock hard, with a little plastic Santa or reindeer on top. Mince pies, warmed in the oven, the pastry crumbly, dusted with icing sugar. Chocolate from your selection box, or maybe some Quality Street or roses from the tin that's been sitting in the cupboard since someone brought it round last week. Trifle, made yesterday. Layers of sponge and jelly and custard and cream in the glass bowl, the hundreds and thousands on top, bleeding their colour into the cream. You eat again, though you're not really hungry. You eat because it's there, because it's Christmas, because this is what you do. Evening entertainment. By 7 o'clock, everyone's settling in for the evening's entertainment. The big shows are coming up, the Morecambe and Wise Christmas special at 8:15 p.m, which everyone in Britain will watch, literally everyone, the whole nation tuning in at the same time. But before that, there might be a Christmas special of the Generation Game, or the Two Ronnies, or some variety show with singers and dancers and comedians doing their Christmas best. You're all in the living room again, the fire built up for the evening, the room almost too warm now from the heat and the bodies and the day's cooking. The tree lights are on, twinkling away, and someone's put out a plate of nuts with the nutcrackers, the old-fashioned ones that are shaped like a crocodile's mouth, and you have to work hard to crack the shells, bits flying everywhere. Your dad's broken out the Cadbury's roses, the big tin that's been saved for tonight. You peel off the lid, and there they are, wrapped in their coloured foils, all jumbled together. Everyone has their favourite, the strawberry cream, the hazelnut whirl, the caramel. There are always ones left over that nobody likes, the coffee cream maybe, or the orange cream, and they'll sit in the bottom of the tin until well into January, gradually going soft. The Morecambe and Wise Christmas special starts, and it's brilliant. Eric and Ernie at their best, the jokes, the songs, the special guests being made to do silly dances, Ernie's terrible plays that Eric tears apart. Everyone's laughing, quoting the catchphrases. What do you think of it so far? Rubbish. The whole country is watching this at the same moment, sharing this experience, and tomorrow, everyone at school or work will be talking about it, quoting bits, reliving the best moments. After that, there might be a film. Maybe Mary Poppins or The Sound of Music, something you've all seen before but that's perfect for Christmas night. Or maybe a drama special, something festive and warm. Your sister falls asleep on the sofa around 9:30, and your mum carries her up to bed again. You're fighting sleep too, trying to hold on to the day to make it last. But your eyes are heavy, and you're full of food and warm and comfortable, and eventually, you can't fight it anymore. Come on, love, your mum says gently. Time for bed. You don't argue. You're too tired. You trail upstairs, clean your teeth with toothpaste from a tube, not the powder in the tin anymore, that's old-fashioned now. Use the toilet, climb into bed. The sheets are cold again, but you're too tired to care. Your hot water bottle's been filled. Your mum's thought of it, even though she must be exhausted herself, and you curl around it, pulling the blankets up to your chin. You can hear your parents downstairs, their voices murmuring, the clink of glasses as they have one more drink, unwinding, the day finally over. You can hear your dad banking up the fire for the night, your mum tidying up, though there's still so much to do, tomorrow's problem. You lie there, replaying the day, the presents, the food, the laughter, the warmth, your family all together. It's been a good Christmas. Not perfect, the house was cold, the food was simple, the presents were modest, But it was yours. It was real. It was full of love, even if nobody said the word out loud. The days between Boxing Day, dawn's grey and anticlimactic. The magic of Christmas has passed, but you're in that strange liminal space of the days between Christmas and New Year, when time seems suspended, when nobody's quite sure what day it is, when normal rules don't apply. The television schedule is still special, more films, more specials, but there's a sense of deflation too. Yesterday's turkey is now cold cuts for sandwiches stretched out to last the week. The presents have lost their newness already. The house is a bit of a mess, bits of wrapping paper still tucked behind furniture, selection box wrappers stuffed down the sides of chairs. But it's all right. There's still time off. Your dad won't go back to work until after New Year, the factory's closed, and your mum can relax a bit, though she's still cooking, still cleaning, still managing everything. You might go for a walk, wrapping up against the cold, just to get out of the house. The streets are quiet, other families doing the same thing, everyone overfed and under-exercised, walking off the Christmas dinner. The sales start tomorrow, January 2nd, and your mum's already planning what she needs to get. A new saucepan maybe, if they're reduced at Woolworths. A winter coat for you, if there's one in your size marked down at C&A. Everything's so expensive now. The cost of everything going up, and wages not keeping pace, and you have to grab bargains where you can find them. The days drift by. You read your new books, play with your new toys, watch television, eat leftovers. Turkey sandwiches, turkey soup, turkey curry. Your mum's attempt at being exotic, though curry powder from a tin is about as exotic as it gets. Cold ham with chips. Mince pies for breakfast because why not? It's Christmas. The normal rules are suspended. New Year's Eve approaches. Your family doesn't really celebrate it. You're not allowed to stay up until midnight, though you try. Your dad might have a few friends round for a drink. Your mum putting out some snacks, crisps and nuts and cheese and crackers. And you're sent to bed before the real party starts, lying there listening to the adult laughter downstairs, the chink of glasses, the countdown on the television at midnight, the church bells ringing in the new year, the fireworks in the distance, muffled by distance and walls. The reckoning. And then suddenly it's January, and Christmas is over. The decorations stay up until 12th night. Bad luck to take them down before, bad luck to leave them up after. And on January 6th, everything comes down. The tree is carried outside, already brown and dropping needles, leaving a trail of them across the carpet. The baubles go back in their box, wrapped in tissue paper, stored in the cupboard under the stairs until next year. The cards come down, stacked in a pile. Your mum will cut the pictures off them and save them for craft projects. The house looks bare without it all, empty. The corner where the tree stood is just a corner again. The mantelpiece is bare except for the clock and a few ornaments. The paper chains are binned. The tinsel is coiled up and put away. Your dad goes back to work, catching the early bus, his packed lunch in a Tupperware box, his thermos of tea, his face already back to that Monday morning expression. Your mum starts the New Year's cleaning, stripping beds, washing curtains, that annual purge that clears out the old and makes room for the new. You go back to school, and everyone compares what they got for Christmas, the usual pecking order establishing itself. Who got the expensive stuff? Who got the cheap stuff? Who got clothes? Unlucky. Who got the toy everyone wanted? The country goes back to its problems. The strikes, the economy, the oil crisis, the 3-day week, all the difficulties that didn't go away just because it was Christmas. The headlines are grim again. Your dad's face is tight again when he reads the paper. But for a few days there, for that brief moment, you had Christmas. You had warmth and light and food and family. You had that feeling of security, of being loved, of being home. You had traditions that stretched back generations, connecting you to everyone who'd celebrated Christmas before you, everyone who'd watched the Queen's speech, everyone who'd eaten turkey and pulled crackers and worn paper hats. Looking back now, decades later, you remember that Christmas Eve, that Christmas Day, with an ache in your chest that's not quite sadness, not quite joy, but something in between. You remember the cold, God, the cold, the freezing bedrooms, the ice on the inside of the windows, the way you could see your breath indoors. Central heating is universal now, double glazing is standard, but back then you were cold for months on end every winter. You wore layers indoors, you huddled by fires. You went to bed with hot water bottles and woke with cold feet. You remember the simplicity. 3 channels on the television, all in black and white. For you, anyway. Color sets were still a luxury. No videos, no DVDs, no streaming, no choice. You watched what was on, when it was on, and you were grateful for it. The whole country watched the same programs at the same time, had the same cultural touchstones, the same references. Monday morning at work or school, everyone had watched the Morecambe and Wise Christmas special. Everyone. You remember the food. Simple, traditional, the same every year. Turkey and sprouts and roast potatoes, Christmas pudding, mince pies, satsumas and nuts, selection boxes, Quality Street in those metal tins. Everything tasted different then. Or maybe your memory's playing tricks. Maybe everything tastes better when you're young, and it's Christmas, and you're excited and happy. You remember the presents being modest, but meaning more somehow. A book, a toy, a game, things you'd actually play with for months, not just toss aside after a week. There was no Amazon, no online shopping, no instant gratification. Your mum had shopped for weeks, saving up, layaway plans at the big stores, hiding presents in the cupboard under the stairs. The anticipation was part of the gift. You remember your parents being younger than you are now. Your mum in her 30s, already looking tired, already worn down by the work of running a household without modern conveniences, by the endless labor of cooking and cleaning and managing on not quite enough money. Your dad in his 40s, working 6 days a week at the factory, his hands calloused, his face lined, but happy on Christmas Day, relaxed, able to just sit and enjoy his family. They gave you that Christmas. They made it happen on a tight budget, with limited resources, in difficult times. The country was struggling. Strikes, inflation, power cuts, the 3-day week, but they created a space of warmth and joy and tradition for you and your sister. They went without things themselves to make sure you had a good Christmas. You remember the smells, coal smoke, pine from the tree, turkey roasting, your dad's pipe tobacco, your mum's lily-of-the-valley perfume, the metallic smell of frost, the damp smell of everyone's wet coats drying near the fire. You remember the sounds, the clock chiming the hours, the crackle of the fire, your dad snoring, your mum singing in the kitchen, the television's fuzzy sound, church bells in the distance, kids playing in the street, the milkman's early morning clink of bottles. You remember the feeling, being young, being excited, believing that Christmas morning would never come, and then suddenly it was here. The magic of presents under the tree, your family all together, being warm and fed and safe. The truth of it. It wasn't perfect. Let's be honest about that. It was cold. It was expensive for your parents, stretched the budget to breaking point. The house was small. The presents were modest. Some of the food was bland. Your mum was exhausted. Your dad worried about money. The country was in trouble. Real trouble. Not the vague economic anxieties we have now, but serious problems. Power cuts, strikes, the 3-day week, rubbish piling up in the streets, the sense that things were falling apart, that the post-war consensus was breaking down, that the future was uncertain. Socially, it was a different world. Casual racism and sexism were normal. Smoking everywhere was normal. Drink driving wasn't taken seriously. Children weren't listened to the way they are now. Authority was never questioned. You did what you were told or got a clip round the ear. Life was harder in practical ways. No mobile phones, no internet, no instant communication, no streaming entertainment, no on-demand anything. Everything took longer, was more difficult, required more planning and effort. But there was something there that we've lost. A simplicity, a sense of community. Everyone was in it together, experiencing the same thing, the same television programs, the same food, the same traditions. There was a shared culture, a common experience, that's been fragmented now into a million individual choices. There was patience, anticipation, waiting for things, and the waiting making them sweeter when they arrived. The Radio Times arriving, and planning your viewing for a week, the excitement of a new program starting, the shared experience of everyone watching the same thing. There was making do, repairing things, not replacing them, using things until they wore out, saving things, string, paper, jars, anything that might be useful. Nothing was wasted. Everything had value. There was family, not idealized, not perfect, but present. No devices to distract, no phones to scroll, just people in a room together, talking, playing games, watching television together, being together even when they annoyed each other. Your heart breaks. Your heart breaks for it. Not because it was better. It wasn't. Not really. Life is easier now, more comfortable, more fair in many ways. We have central heating and double glazing and washing machines that actually work properly, and instant communication, and all the food we could want, and choices, endless choices. But your heart breaks because it was yours, because you were young then, and your parents were alive, or still young themselves, and the future was ahead of you, full of possibility. Because Christmas then meant something different, not just presents and food, but a break in the hard routine of life, a moment of light in the darkness, a reminder that things could be good, that family mattered, that traditions connected you to the past and the future. Your heart breaks because you can never go back. Those houses don't exist anymore, or they've been modernized beyond recognition. Those shops are gone. Woolworths closed in 2009, a victim of the financial crisis, and when it went, a little piece of British Christmas went with it. British home stores closed in 2016. Timothy White's was absorbed into Boots decades ago. The high street is full of charity shops and phone shops and chain stores now. The individual character sucked out of it. Your parents are older now, or gone. The people you shared those Christmases with are scattered, lives diverged, families split. You can't recreate it even if you wanted to. The world has moved on. Your heart breaks because your children, your grandchildren, will never know that world. They'll never understand the excitement of 3 channels, of waiting for programs, of everyone experiencing the same thing at the same time. They'll never know real cold, the kind that makes ice form inside your window. They'll never know what it's like to have modest expectations and be genuinely thrilled with simple gifts. They'll think you're exaggerating when you tell them about it. They'll think you're romanticizing the past, seeing it through rose-tinted glasses. And maybe you are. Memory is unreliable, selective, editing out the bad and emphasizing the good. But it was real. That Christmas Eve, that Christmas Day, that feeling, it was real. You lived it, you felt it. And even though the world has changed, even though life is different now, even though you can never go back, you carry it with you. It's there in the way you celebrate Christmas now, the traditions you've kept or adapted. It's there in the way certain smells or sounds can transport you back instantly to being 7 years old on Christmas morning, the tree lights glowing, the presents waiting, your whole life ahead of you. It's there in the way your heart aches just a little every Christmas Eve, missing something you can't quite name, something that's gone but not forgotten. This was our Christmas. This was Christmas Eve in 1970s Britain. This was our Christmas. It was cold, it was simple, it was imperfect, it was constrained by limited money and difficult times and social norms we've thankfully moved past. But it was ours. It was real. It was full of love, even when that love was expressed through actions rather than words, through the sacrifices parents made, through the work they did to make it special, through the traditions they maintained to give us a sense of continuity and belonging. We didn't have much, but we had enough. We had each other. We had Christmas. And maybe that's why our hearts break when we remember it. Not because it was perfect, but because it was ours, and it's gone, and we can never get it back. But we can remember. We can tell these stories. We can pass on what we can of those traditions, adapted for new times, new families, new circumstances. We can try to give our children and grandchildren their own Christmas memories, ones they'll look back on in 40 years with the same mixture of nostalgia and heartache. Because that's what Christmas is, really. Not the presents or the food or the decorations, important as those are. It's the feeling of being connected to the people you love, to the generations that came before, to the traditions that bind us together across time. It's the sense that for one day, maybe two, the world slows down, and what matters is being together, being warm, being safe, being loved. That's what we had on Christmas Eve in the 1970s Britain. That's what our parents gave us, despite everything, despite the cold and the cost and the difficulty of it all. That's what we remember. That's what makes our hearts break. That's what we're grateful for, even now, especially now. That was our Christmas.
What was yours?